Hey guys, Alex Riles here from Tech Data Security Solutions, and this is the third video in a series I'm doing on the impacts to our world of COVID-19. The first video I did was on the impacts to business transformation and how businesses might be different in the coming 2 to 5 years. The second video was on changes to retail and e-tail companies, and today I want to focus a little closer to home on the individual experience. How is COVID-19 going to impact individual people and families? So there's actually 4 topical areas I was hoping to touch on today that I've been thinking about for quite a bit, talking to friends about, and I wanted to share these thoughts with you. The first is around social anxiety. I don't think it's going to be a surprise to anyone that we're going to find it hard to get out and travel, to ride public transportation for quite a while. You know, I really didn't think this was going to impact me very much because I am so ready to get out of the house. But the other day, I went to Red Robin on a Friday night to pick up food for our family for dinner. I was grabbing some burgers and I had to go inside to the lobby to pick up the food. When I got in there, there were 30 people crammed into this small lobby. Some were waiting in line to be seated and some were waiting to pick up food, and I was freaking out. I kept thinking, stop touching me. And I really thought that I wasn't going to be impacted by social anxiety disorders of any kind through this. But when I got put in the situation, I couldn't help but think about being near people and the impact that might have on me. I think there's lots of ways this is going to spill over into our society. As simple as tailgating at sporting events. I'm from the South, and what we do is tailgate, especially in the fall for football games. And as we come up for the fall this year, I think there's going to be huge impacts there. Not only are we unsure if high school football games are going to be had in the fall or college games, but the ability for people to gather together into a tight stadium or an arena or a coliseum for sports next year, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. There's an interesting term, and if you don't know it, I'll teach it to you today. It's called agoraphobia. It is a social disorder that prevents some people from even leaving the boundaries of their house or a room. It just makes them nervous. They can't step over the threshold of their doorway to their home. I think that there's many phases and stages to agoraphobia, but it'll be interesting to see over the coming years how many people are genuinely going to struggle with the idea of getting back out into society. My 19-year-old daughter is in college. She's studying to be a psychologist, and we've had many discussions here recently about what that impact is going to look like. And it'll be fascinating to see how many healthcare workers and mental health workers are going to be required to help people get back out there, even as simple as business travelers getting back on a plane. Now, the second topic that I think is going to be transformative to our industry is education. This is going to impact the individual, as many of you, I'm sure, have students either in primary school or in high school or college. I happen to have a high school and a college daughter. The changes we're going to see over the next couple of years, as I talk to my wife about this, and she's an educator, I just believe we're going to see a mix of physical classroom time and more on-demand, online education curriculum. There's an interesting study. The World Economic Forum estimates that 65% of children entering primary school today will be in totally different jobs when they graduate that don't even exist right now. In order to skill up for those jobs, it's going to require a transformation of how we teach our students digitally and technology-wise. There's some really cool technology coming down the pipe. Let me give you a couple of thoughts, because the job market is changing faster than ever in history due to the technology coming along. So it's inevitable that we use some of this technology in the classroom. Here's one example: biometrics. Imagine educating online through an online curriculum where an artificial intelligence engine looks through your camera on your laptop, and based on your facial expressions, they adapt the curriculum. For instance, if you furrow your brow, you're not sure you understand the material, the AI engine can adapt the material and give you a little more explanation than maybe another student. Or if you look like you're bored and falling asleep, it might forward you to a different topic to gain your interest and circle back to the previous topic. Artificial intelligence and training is going to be pretty fascinating. Other areas are augmented reality or virtual reality. Augmented reality is the idea of seeing something physical sitting in front of you, like a body if you're a healthcare worker taking a med school. But augmented reality puts glasses on, whereas you see through the glasses, it puts data on top of that physical object. Imagine seeing a cadaver on a table for someone studying biology or healthcare. And you can actually explode that body, and through your reticle or lens, you can see the parts of the body, the vein system. You can see the heart pop up and expand, so you can see it, walk around it, study it. Augmented reality is placing digital content on top of real things you see. Virtual reality is the idea that we live in a virtual world. You can enter a virtual classroom with students around you, not 6 feet apart. You have a virtual teacher that teaches a curriculum, and you can even take a science lab where you play with instruments or beakers with chemicals in it in a virtual world with an avatar, so you're not actually burning yourself with sulfuric acid, but still able to convey the concepts of science in a slightly different way than we do today with physical labs and physical training. I'm not suggesting we're ready today or that it is even as effective today, but virtual reality and augmented reality are coming very fast, and they will, over time, be very effective. Another thought for you guys is digital learning, artificial intelligence, in terms of how we're going to communicate with our students and adjust how we send them assignments and receive assignments based on the learning capacity of any individual student. I think that the curriculum and the skill set will be tailored per student over time. The big question is, how do we pay for all this change that's coming? COVID-19 in many ways has accelerated the need for these types of technologies, and I have a feeling they'll find ways to fund it. The third area of interest for me as we look at the individual and the impacts to COVID-19 is how we're re-energizing the family unit. This quarantine has proven one of two ways for most families. It either has brought families very tightly together as you're eating more together at night, cooking together, watching TV together, doing puzzles together. And for some families, it's torn them apart, unfortunately. I think substance abuse is oftentimes a function or a component of challenges in a family unit, where when you're cooped up and you're struggling with a substance abuse issue, it can cause separation of families. But I think more families than not have really gained value. And as I talk to coworkers and friends, they've loved this time with their family. If there's anything I know, it's that we could use more family bonding and family units in this country to encourage people with moral values and people to back up and support us as individuals. The last topic I thought is really interesting is the idea that I think the basis for patriotism in this country is evolving. Historically, we used to think of patriotism in terms of strictly how we view our military, and we just celebrated Memorial Day with all the sacrifices our military has done for our country, and we will continue to do that, and that is absolutely patriotism. But we're evolving that concept to include other people who lay down their lives for this country in different ways. Think of healthcare workers who are going into combat in hospitals with a disease that kills people and still supporting their patients. I think it's unbelievable, and it's creating patriotism in this country like we haven't seen in years. When you combine our military patriotism and our healthcare workers, it can be nothing but good for our country to bring us together. I think it's healthy, and we need to promote it. I hope this has been interesting. I'm sure you have other thoughts on areas of individual experience that have been impacted by COVID-19, and I hope you'll leave me some notes on LinkedIn or in other social media platforms to let me know what you think about the impacts to our world. Thanks a lot. Alex Rouse.